Your mind is enslaved. Your mind is enslaved to many different things. You see, we all know about physical slavery, where you're physically trapped, where you're forced to do something. You know, slavery's been around since the start of humanity. We know about physical, but right now we're all suffering from mental slavery. Our mind is taken away. Our mind is enslaved to a thing, a person. You know, so that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video, how we're physically and mentally enslaved. Well, mainly mentally enslaved. Now, before I break the video down, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to hit the red subscribe button, and make sure to leave a comment down below. You see, right now, mental slavery is happening all across the world. Like, when I say mental slavery, I'm talking about your mind. Your mind is fully occupied. Your mind is not free. Your mind is not able to dwell into what it wants to go into. This is why you're not progressing in your life. This is why you're stuck. This is why you're stuck into bad habits. This is why you're not where you want to be, because your mind is not free. Your mind is occupied. You see, your mind is simply a magnet. Your mind simply attracts or dwells into whatever you put into it. You see, when you're watching anything, whether that is social media, which is the #1 culprit of your mind being enslaved in that, you think about how much time and energy spent into a particular content, whether that is football, whether that is females, whether that is anything, basketball or racing. Like, your mind is occupied in that field because you spend so much time thinking about it and consuming that type of content. You see, your mind's consumed by the daily news on social media, on TikTok. TikTok's taken most people's mind, constantly scrolling and looking at all different types of content. Your mind's occupied by the news or movies that you watch. So the reason I'm saying all of these things is because if your mind is not free, then you cannot manifest, or then you cannot focus on what you actually want. You see, when your mind is split into so many different avenues, that you spend time on TikTok, time on Instagram, time watching the news, time on flipping movies, like time on all of these things, and then you spend a little bit of time on what you actually want in life, then you realize that you're not going anywhere. You know, because wherever you focus on grows, as they say. Wherever your mind dwells upon will grow. If your full attention is onto a particular thing, then you will grow in that field. So if your mind is fully concentrated on social media, then your mind is just going to be covered and tainted in all of these different frequencies. Happy, sad, jealousy, hate, all of these different frequencies. And of course, that's what social media is. It's a TV channel where you're constantly scrolling through different channels and you get constantly feeding your mind. Your mind is very impressionable. Whatever you put in your mind stays in your mind. You cannot filter it out. It goes inside. You see something negative, that'll go inside your mind. You see something positive, that'll go inside your mind. So anything that every person you speak to, every encounterment, every content you consume goes into your mind in that. Now, we all have goals. We all have ambitions. We all want to progress in a particular field or a particular way, whether that is physical, mental, whether that's in your career, whether that is in anything you want to do. But the reason that we're struggling and we're not progressing is because the mind is fully occupied with all of these other things which we really don't really care about, but we have consumed. You see, that there's a reason that when you listen to a song and then it plays back over and over in your head. You see, once you start to dwell into meditation, you realize the root cause of your thoughts and that. And all of your thoughts that you're thinking comes down to what you've consumed. That's literally your thought. Your thought is not nothing new, nothing creative. It's really just what you have consumed. If you've been watching a horror movie and then later you have a nightmare and you see that same horror that you watched, that's because you've consumed that and now you're experiencing it. So the reason I'm talking about mental enslavement is that you know what you want to do. You know what you want to progress in. You need to clear your mind. You need to actually get to a state of stillness. And this is where meditation comes into place. Sorry for keep moving the phone. I forgot my tripod or my selfie stick. So I have to keep changing hands. The reason you need to get into meditation is because meditation calms the mind down. The mind right now is like a storm or hurricane. It's going round and round and round. One thought after another. One thought you're thinking about him. Then you're thinking about your parents. Then you're thinking about work. Then you're thinking about homework. Then you're thinking about that content you watch. Then you're thinking about that movie. Then you're thinking about that game. It's like your mind is literally going round and round like a hurricane. So in that mist, in that confusion, there is no way for you to focus and actually put your mind to use on what you want to progress in. You see, this is where meditation comes into place. Meditation calms the storm down. Meditation, stills the water. And when the water is still and then you make a conscious choice on what you want to think about, then that thought becomes very powerful. You see, your thoughts are more powerful than you think. A thought is not just a thought. Like I said, when you think of, let's say you think about something that happened in the past, very sad, very heartbreaking, traumatic. The moment you think about that, do you not feel your body and your emotions change? It's like you're reliving that moment. Same as when you're thinking, let's say, about a female, attractive female. The moment you dwell and think about attractive female, you start to get aroused. Like, do you not see just from them two examples the power of your thoughts? So what do you think is happening with your mind when you're consuming all of these different things? It's just confusion. You're constantly confused. Your mind doesn't know what to do, what to think, and you're not able to manifest and get what you want because it's just confused. So you must calm the mind down. Meditation is very key. I recommend doing it at least twice a day, morning and the evening. And then control what you're doing throughout the day. Do everything consciously. The people you're talking to, the social media that you're consuming, it's really just messing up your mind. It's taking your mind away from your purpose, away from your craft, away from your destiny. You see, right now, like, the slavery is like mental. You don't need to be enslaved and chained up and locked in a place and that. All they need to do to you is just give you a device and give you social media and confuse your mind to the point where you're not able to think straight. And if you're not able to think straight, then you're definitely not going to be able to behave according to what you want. So free your mind. Take time on social media. Take time to meditate. Like, be careful about who you speak to. Be careful about what you think. Like I explained already, a thought is just not a thought. Like Ralph Waldo Emerson explained it perfectly. A thought turns into action, and action turns into a habit turns into your character, and your character turns into your destiny. If you do not change the way you think, then you cannot change the way you behave. So if you're constantly on social media, then it's just affecting you in so many different ways, bro. Your mind is fully polluted. Your mind is fully occupied. So if your mind is fully occupied and you're trying to do positive things or create positive habits, then it's not going to work. You need to empty the mind. And to empty the mind, you need to be still. The more you move, the more you scroll, the more you just do things and that, and the more occupied your mind becomes and that. So the only answer is stillness. Being still, relaxed, breathe. There's another thing you can do is journal. Understand your thoughts. Pay attention to them. Where they're coming from. But it's time to take back your mind, because if you cannot control your mind, then you cannot control anything. You see, everything is about perception. Happiness, like happiness or misery, trauma, everything's how you perceive it. If you perceive yourself as a loser, then you are simply a loser. If you perceive yourself as a prospering person, then you are a prosperous person. See, it's not the situation, it's how you perceive it. Perception is very, very important. If you're not able to change your perception, then you cannot change your reality. Because your reality is only a perception. It's what you think it is. So, knowing that, then you need to be careful about every thought you have. Pay attention to it. If the thought is not uplifting, then you need to stop it right there and then reverse it and look at it from a different perspective. The more that your mind is trapped in this social media, this algorithm, because you have to remember, the social media is a huge trap. We all use it. I use it myself. I'm not talking like someone who, I got a phone in my hand right now, I'm talking on social media. But the phone really is a trap because the algorithm works by understanding what you like, first and foremost, and feed you that. But not only does it feed you what you like, it feeds you everything else. And anything you pay a little bit of attention to, it will continue to feed you that. And naturally, as a human being, we're all like, we all like gravitate towards drama, towards negativity, towards all of them things right there. So naturally, you're gonna consume that content, and naturally, they're gonna feed you more of that. Then you're in the loop. Then it's gonna keep reoccurring over and over again. They're gonna feed you that content. Whether that's that female twerking, whether it's that guy, like doing whatever he's doing, or so. You have to step out of that. You have to realize that, whoa, like, this is not what I want. Like, what do I actually want? I want to improve physically. I want to grow mentally. I want to be spiritually connected. I want financial freedom. And I need to be dwelling on that. The more you focus on that, the more you will grow. The more you focus on physical health, let's say getting in shape, the more you focus on what you're eating and doing workouts and improving in that sense, the better you get at it. The more you focus into your finances, investing or starting a business, the more time and energy you focus on that, the better you'll get at it. But if your mind is fully occupied by social media, then you're not going anywhere. You're simply stuck in a hypnotic rhythm, you know? So free your mind. The message of the video is free your mind. Your mind is currently enslaved. If the social media app is not bringing you any value, then delete it. Take time every day to be quiet and still. Pay attention to your thoughts, who you speak to, what you consume. Whatever you consume will affect your thinking. And if it affects your thinking, it will affect your behavior. So that's the message, man. Take it on board and apply it.